I thought I would just show you something that I was sent I don't know why, just because I want to, that I think it proves a point. A lot of these things that I'm saying, obviously people know this by now, are claims that are being made in some cases by the conventional doctors or scientists, so-called, or conventional organizations, World Health Organization, CDC. But of course, many of them are made by the so-called freedom community or the so-called freedom doctors or the people who are critical. And I just want to be clear that it's not that I obviously disagree with everything that is being said from the freedom community, but what I do take issue with over and over again is the mechanism and the so-called scientific facts or explanations behind what is being said. So, and I will say more about that in a minute, but here is a very classic example of that. So this was found on the Mercola site. Again, somebody sent it to me, and I don't want to go through the whole thing, but I'm sure many of you have heard of SV40. This was something that Andy Wakefield talks a lot about, that they have discovered that SV40, which is supposedly a cancer-causing virus, has been found that to be a contaminating feature of the polio viruses. And many people, I believe Judy Mikovits talks about this also, many people were given various forms of cancer, and especially, as you see here, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, because they were exposed to this oncogenic cancer-causing virus SV40. SV stands for simian virus, and 40 means it's the 40th simian virus that was identified. So the point of this story is that microbiologist Kevin McKernan, who we've had a number of run-ins in the past about his so-called science, former researcher and team leader for the MIT Human Genome Project. So obviously he should be somebody who knows the field, has discovered massive DNA contamination in the mRNA COVID shots, including simian virus SV40 promoters. Simian virus 40, SV40, has been linked to cancer, mesotheliomas, lymphomas, brain cancer, bone cancer. 2002, Lancet published evidence linking polio vaccines contaminated with SV40 to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. They say the vaccine may be responsible for up to 50% of the 55,000 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cases diagnosed every year. So that's about 27,500. The level of contamination varies depending on the platform used to measure it, but no matter which method is used, the level of DNA contamination is significantly higher than the regulatory limits in both Europe and the US. The highest level of DNA contamination was 30%. This means the finding of DNA means the mRNA COVID shots may have the ability to alter the human genome. I have said this before, it's always good to pay attention to the word may, because if it may, that also means it may not, which is the only two possibilities, so that actually means nothing. Even if genetic modification does not occur, the fact that you're getting foreign DNA into your cells poses a risk in and of itself. Partial expression could occur, or it might interfere with other transcription translations already in the cell. Cytoplasmic transfection can also allow for genetic manipulation as the nucleus disassembles and exchanges cellular components with the cytosol during cell division. That's a whole lot of words in that sentence. So what does this actually mean? The first thing is everybody needs to be 100% clear, and there is no possibility that what I'm about to say is incorrect. Nobody found any virus in these vaccines, these mRNA COVID shots. They found pieces of genetic material which they allege came from this simian virus 40, which of course has never been isolated, purified, or shown to exist. So there cannot be any proof that any of these sequences actually came from such a particle called SV40. That's for sure. All they're looking at is little bits of genetic DNA pieces in the so-called COVID shots. That's what they say they're finding, probably by a combination of antibodies and PCR analysis. And we'll get into antibodies in a minute. So obviously the question, and if you go down and read the article, they say these simian virus 40s are come from African monkey green monkey kidney cells. African green monkey kidney cells. So the question that should be asked, of course, is how did pieces of genetic material from African green monkey kidney cells get into these mRNA COVID shots? So I asked some people about this. The answer, of course, it's so obvious, it makes me actually kind of chuckle to think about it, because everybody I asked got it correct, even people who are sick and tired of hearing about this and don't even care about virology. Well, of course, they, quote, grew the SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus, they, quote, grew it on African green monkey kidney cells. So what they put into the vaccine, so-called the COVID shots, came from the breakdown of the African green monkey kidney cells, containing all of the little bits of genetic pieces, DNA contamination that were in the African green monkey kidney cells. So how did it get there? I mean, it couldn't be more obvious, because that's where the source of these, quote, viruses, which were never identified or seen, came from. Now, here we get into an issue which I can almost hear people when they hear this, and anybody who knows how they, quote, grow coronaviruses or SARS-CoV-2 will know that they grew them, so-called grow them. They didn't grow anything, but they came from cell cultures made from African green monkey kidney cells. And so probably what you're thinking to yourself is, no, these people can't be that stupid to not realize that the reason they have DNA contamination from African green monkey kidney cells in their mix is because they grew them in exactly African green monkey kidney cells. Anybody would know that. Anybody looking at this would say, that is so obvious. How can you possibly not get that? And I must admit, as I've admitted a million times, I think I have no idea why they can't understand that. I have no idea why this guy, McKernan, cannot get that every single time you grow a so-called virus in African green monkey kidney cells, you're going to get DNA contamination from those exact cells. There is no possibility for anything but that to happen. It happens every time with every vaccine. that there is no SV40 that causes cancer. It's simply injecting people over and over again with the toxic brew called a vaccine. That's what causes them to get these various sorts of cancers and lymphomas. There is no virus needed or found in any of that process. So I think we all need to get over that central question of how can they possibly not see this? I have no idea, except they just don't.